The black frame. It might be the most cliched, overused video transition on YouTube today, and yet there might be some life left in it. So today I'm going to show you how to take the basic black frame transition concept and make it creative, make it unique, make it your own, and think of it as black frame 2.0. So what is the black frame transition? You might not recognize the name, but you have definitely seen it. Vloggers use it all the time to go from one location to another, and they simply do it by covering the lens with their hand. And then when they remove their hand, they are in a completely different location. So why is it called the black frame? Well, because at the end of a particular scene, the screen goes black for just a moment, and then this matches up with a new scene where it starts off with a black frame. Now, the key to any in-camera transition, including the black frame, is surprise. If you surprise your viewer, you're gonna give them all sorts of oogly, nice feelings, and they're just gonna wanna watch your content more. And you want them watching your content more, right? You want them coming back to your channel. So the key to surprising your viewer is to first set up an expectation and then go against that expectation. But you really have to set up that expectation first. You can't just, in the middle of talking, have your camera suddenly go black.
Was that too soon?
That's not the kind of surprise you want. That's just confusing. And a confused viewer isn't gonna be your viewer for very long. So, set up that surprise by visually making the viewer think they know what's gonna happen next and then doing something different. And you really only need to make it visual. You can literally tell the viewer exactly what you're gonna do next, and it can still work really well by surprising them. For example, we're gonna go to the park now.
I'm gonna go on the swings.
As you just saw, you can use the black frame transition for more than just changing locations. You can use it to change camera angles as well. I used my son's shirt to change the camera angle so it looks like he walks through the camera and out the other side, which is the surprise for the viewer. Now, the black frame transition isn't all that technical to pull off. However, there's one thing you absolutely have to know, and that's you've got to lock your exposure. Think about it, your camera is always trying to adjust your exposure to make things look right. But if you put your hand over your lens, your camera thinks, wow, it suddenly got dark in here, and will open up the aperture to let more light in. And when you take your hand away again, that aperture is gonna be wide open, letting as much light as possible in, and then suddenly we'll be blinded with all the light that comes in. And that looks really unprofessional. So compare this, I'm gonna put my hand over my lens and my aperture is locked. Now compare it to this where my aperture is not locked. Did you see that horrible, ugly flare when I took my hand away? That's just not cool. It does not look professional. So lock your exposure. Now let's get creative with this black frame idea. Imagine any scene that you're shooting that naturally goes from light to dark or dark to light, and that's a really good place to put in a black frame transition. However, you don't want to just make it very arbitrary. Like, for example, I could drop my phone into the grass right now, but if I did it suddenly, it wouldn't make any sense. You'd be asking yourself, why did the phone fall in the grass, or what happened? However, if I set up the scene with a different shot first, think about the shots you're gonna make. Are there moments where it would naturally go from light to dark or dark to light in your scene? Well, that is a great opportunity to put in a black frame transition. Remember how we've been talking about surprise? It does you no good if you set up one of these transitions and your viewer can't tell that you've gone from one location to another. If the background looks the same, then you've lost the element of surprise. So the key is to make sure your backgrounds are really different. The black frame transition works best when you plan things out and you set it up. You want to make sure that you set up that expectation ahead of time, and you want to surprise them with the actual transition. So when you've gone to all that trouble of planning and shooting, you don't want to screw it up in the edit. So I've come up with a set of tips and tricks to get that black frame editing transition perfect, and you can see it in this video right here. I promise you, it's a short video, but it's going to take your transition editing to the next level.